All right, everybody. Hey, I'm here with a longtime friend, one of my best friends, Stephan Guffey. Stephan, what's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, dude. Chilling. Glad the week's over.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Feel you on that for sure. How's uh how's Uncle Sam treating you?
Uh, like a slave, dude.
I think we're all slaves for sure. Just numbers.
Yeah,
But
that's all you are, dude. Social security number.
pretty much, yeah, pay your taxes or pay your taxes and die. That's all you get to do.
Yeah. Uh, man, I think it's crazy how the government can charge you for things like, I don't know, like fishing. Like, why do you
They
need a license to fish, bro?
they tax literally everything, every aspect of your life has tax in it, built into it, some way, shape, or form. And then, like you said, fishing, hunting, anything that you do, you have to buy a license for. And that license, they sell you the license and then they tax that. So
Yeah, and I could be wrong. I probably am, but it's ridiculous. So if a let's say let's use wood. Okay, I'm gonna try to track wood down from where it starts, and I'm probably gonna mess this up so people can make fun of me if they want to. Whoever owns the property that for the tree farm, right? Whoever owns the property is paying property taxes on that tree farm.
yep.
When they log that wood and sell it to somebody else, sell it to a lumber yard, taxes are being paid on that wood. So you got the tax for the property that the tree was grown on. You're paid tax for the wood when it's sold from that individual to the lumber yard. And then when the lumber yard sells it to you, it gets taxed again. And then when you put it on your property, you're paying property taxes for where that same piece of wood is. Like it just,
It,
I don't get
it
it.
it even goes beyond that. So if they use the wood for, let's just say they take a portion of the wood and make paper out of it. And then they make that paper and they do individually wrap it up and package it up and sell 500 sheets or make notebooks or whatever. Every one of those notebooks and those packets of paper, they tax it too.
It's
So it just
crazy.
goes on and on and on, dude. They're taxing people to death,
Left and
every
right.
aspect.
And
It's legal theft, is what it is. I mean, it's 100% legal theft. I mean, it's not right for you to be able to tax the same thing, but in a different form of a product that's been taxed 6, 7, 8 times already down the line, and then you're able to tax it every stage. It's wrong. It's just flat out wrong. So
yeah, I agree with you. And the fact that you know that you need a license to fish doesn't make any sense. That you need a license to own a firearm that's in your constitutional right to bear arms, but you need a license is ridiculous. If I understand having a vehicle and they need tags for a reason because they can run the tag, see who it see who it owns it, see if they owe any tickets or whatever. But if you pull a trailer, you got to have a tag for the trailer. Like, bro, it ain't even a vehicle.
yep.
It's a utility thing that is being pulled by a vehicle, but you got to have a tag for it. And I'm like,
It's it's redundant, is what it is. It's redundant and ignorant. The whole thing. How the fact that, like you said, you pay for registration on say your truck, and you use that truck, and I get it. Like you said, there's a purpose behind it to an extent, but then anything you do, like if say if you want to haul your tractor, you have to go buy a trailer to haul that tractor, and that has to have a tag and registration and everything. That is so dumb. I mean, the truck, why can't you hook something to your truck and pull it and it be under the same registration as your truck? But the reason why is because they can charge you more money. So
Yeah.
it all comes back to the dollar bills, I guess.
Yeah, and they want more. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you want more money?
Yeah, we don't have more money.
You tax my paycheck, you tax everything that I buy with the paycheck that's left over, and then you want more money from me.
Bro, they tax you when you fucking die. I mean, when you die, I mean, no shit. When my grandmother passed away, you know, I was forced to make a lot of decisions as her power of attorney on what was going to be done to her body, the whole funeral process, everything financially ended up being my obligation. So I couldn't believe the amount. I mean, this person's dead. They don't exist anymore. And yet you're still taxed every other aspect, from the cremation down to everything, the flowers, everything that you do in relation to this person's death and them passing is taxed then. Even though they're dead and they cease to exist, but their family members have to absorb that then. It is seriously screwed up. It's corruption. It's just legal corruption. You know, before, you know, back in the old days, you know, everything wasn't taxed the way it is now. It's just gradually gotten way far out of hand. So what do? We just keep eating plate after plate of fucking feces. So that's all we can do about it.
Yeah, and I don't understand it, man. I was talking to my brother-in-law earlier, and I was just saying how the government has seemed gotten so big that it's doing things it was never designed to do, and it's become more of a burden on the everyday person than it is a blessing. Um, it to me, and this is just my personal opinion, the government as a larger whole does more evil than it does good in a lot of ways. Um, and you had, you know, within government, you had checks and balances, but I feel like the checks and balances have gone away to a certain degree. Like, I understand executive orders on certain things, but you can't just bypass legislation.
Yeah.
Those checks and balances are there for a reason. And any piece of legislature should have to go through those checks and balances and go to a vote and make sure the masses agree on it. I don't know. It just all kind of seems a little weird to me to a certain degree. Um, I wish there was a better way. I don't have the answer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I do, but the system has flaws in it. And you know, I'm jumping to another topic now, but it's just like the justice system. You know, where I have a problem with the justice system is the whole thing we heard our entire lives is you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, I have a big issue with that, man, because you're not. You know, if somebody, if I'm this very attractive female, and you and I hang out, or it doesn't, you know, I don't even have to be a female, whatever. You and I hang out, and I just the next day I call somebody and say that you did something to me, you raped me or whatever. They're going to arrest you, and they're going to hold you in jail, potentially, depending on what the actual crime was, until the date of the trial. So if you're innocent until proven guilty, why are you being held in jail?
Yeah.
And the reason I have an issue with that is you're a husband, you're a father, and you're a provider for your family. And if you're in jail for God knows how many months, sometimes it takes years. how is your family supposed to survive? How are you supposed to make an income?
Yep.
And the second biggest issue I have is there's no righting your wrong. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you did something, say you and somebody got in an argument and you were upset about it, and well, I mean, you may spend jail time in that, but regardless of what you did, if you serve 3 years in prison, those 3 years should, wipe out whatever you have going on. I'm not saying eliminate it from the system so law enforcement can kind of see if you're a problem child over time. But if you're a felon in this country, you're always a felon. You can't own a
Mm-hmm.
firearm. Depending, if you're a sex offender, you can never do this or that again. And there's a
You're
bunch of
exempt.
things.
I mean, you're exempt from certain jobs. I mean,
Yeah,
certain
you
jobs.
can't work certain places.
Yeah.
Sometimes if, sex offenders can't live certain places. And I don't really want to put sex offenders in a category because if you do something like that, like, and it's kind of a fine line too. If it's proven without a shadow of a doubt, maybe that one's an exemption, but let's just take just a general felony. If you're a felon forever, which is not right. Dude served his time. Hey man, that's how you right your wrong. And then you move on with life. It shouldn't follow you forever. That's just a thing I don't agree with.
Yeah, I feel you. I think we have, I mean, the people have set back, the American people have set back and just let things happen. And it's kind of disheartening and scary, dude, because, I mean, you take the Jews, for example, when Hitler, when the Holocaust happened, I mean, they were tens of thousands of people just eradicated, just, and all the survivors that they talked to, they asked them, why didn't you do something? Why did you not do something to prevent it from happening? And they all say the same thing. We didn't know until it was too late. We had no idea. People just get in these, they just put the blinders on, dude, and they get into their own routines and they don't want to see that anything corrupt is happening, or they don't want to see that this is happening. It's easier to pretend that everything's in this happy little bubble that no bad shit ever happens in. And it's to sit back and see the way that the country's going. It's kind of sickening to think the men and women that have died for our rights and our freedoms and the sacrifices that have been made by countless men and women it's really a just spit in the face of those patriots. And I think that it's a shame that we've just sat back and let these parasites, because that's what they are, make decisions. And I hate when people say our leaders, our nation's leaders. You're not a nation's leader. You're not our nation's leader. You are an elected official. You are an elected person by the people to do a certain job. And these people have forgotten that they're supposed to answer to us. They're supposed to be held accountable for the things that they do and the laws that they pass. And there seems to be no repercussions on that end for their actions and the things that they do, because the American people have turned a blind eye to what's going on. And it's easier just to say, well, I don't want to go against what they're saying because I don't want to be called a racist. She's black or he's black, and I don't want to go against what they're saying. The time, used to, even when we were young, when we were kids, we could set, if we had differences, and we went to school with several black folks and who were good black people, and they had a difference in opinion. We could talk about where we came from and where they're from, and we could talk about our differences. And it wasn't this huge racial thing. Well, you're a racist because, you're speaking out against the things that I've been through, and it's like, somehow in the last 20 years, we've gotten away from being able to discuss our differences and talk about it. And now immediately it's become, if you don't agree with what I say, then you're a racist.
Yeah.
And
And
I know race is kind of I've gotten off on the race thing, and it's not an issue, but unless people make it an issue. I mean, it's 2021. The only reason race issues exist is because we allow them to. If you're a
yeah,
black man, white man, Chinese man in this country, you have the same opportunities. I mean, if you were born in this country, we've talked about it several times, you've got the golden ticket.
yeah. I mean, you really do. And, we're a country of immigrants, and, I think, somewhere, and I feel like it kind of happened over the last decade. I feel like the word of like prejudice and biased and a couple other terms have all kind of been pushed to the side, and the term, racist or racism has replaced that term. Just because you're offended, or y'all have disagreements, or you may have bias towards something or prejudice towards a person, doesn't mean it's a racist, a racial type thing. I don't know why it's become that. Um, and you're right. Whether, and there are variants, but whether people want to take it for face value, the reality in the majority of the situations, you're 100% correct. If you're born in this country and you've been afforded the ability to make it to school and go through kindergarten all the way through high school, um, you have the same opportunities as everybody else. Because whether your parents are rich, or you have money, or you're super smart, or you're super talented in sports and you get a ride to whatever school, doesn't matter. Um, can you get an education beyond school, beyond high school? The answer is yes. Just like anybody, a lot of people we know, you just go, you get student loans and you go to school. You don't have to
Yep.
be wealthy. Too bad it's not Stanford or Yale or one of these big league schools. But if you're if you don't have some crazy circumstantial thing that prevents you from going to school, and you can graduate high school, actually physically attend school, then you have the same opportunities as everybody. And some people may throw shade uh, at me for my views on things, but at the same time, probably more so for minorities, because our whole lives, it's you hear the term minority this, minority that. So there's all these minority programs, minority scholarships, minority loans, a bunch of things set in place for minorities. So um, for a minority to say, just because they live in the inner city, that they don't have the same chances as everybody else, I don't buy it to a certain degree. And it's like, hey, dude, why you live in the inner city, or why your family chose to kind of live in the inner city is, I don't know the reason why. But if you live in a city where it's a high cost of living, and you work at a mediocre or subpar job, and you make less money, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage
Yeah.
to begin with.
100%.
So you can't live in a place that requires or has a necessity for you to make X amount of dollars when you don't make that many. So you got to find a place where you can live at your means and not above your means, and you can do other things to make opportunities for you to grow, you and your family to grow. So, I mean, we're kind of getting off on a kind of a tangent a little bit, but the biggest thing is, uh, kind of back to the elected officials. The term "by the people, for the people" is for a reason. They're an advocate for you.
Hmm.
So things aren't going to change if you don't hold their feet to the fire. And I don't
Yeah.
know what kind of repercussions there is, but there's got to be a way
Well,
Um,
you just don't get reelected. I
yeah,
mean,
you got to vote at a different way, and people have to pay attention to that.
well, this is the thing. I just had this conversation with both my kids, Gabriel and Michaela. It's so important, and and it honestly hasn't been a huge focal point in my life until the last 4 or 5 years, and that's my fault. Um, but it's so important to vote, and not just to vote. It's important to do your research on the candidates that are running and form an opinion for yourself, because what I fear is happening is people are making choices based off of popularity contests. And I hear it all the time. And do I think Donald Trump is a saint? No, I don't. I think he done a good job, and it's a shame that he'll never get the credit that he deserves for the job that he did do for 4 years. But it's become a popularity contest, and I've heard people say over and over again, when I've questioned them about why they voted for Joe Biden, and it's been, well, I don't like Donald Trump. Well, that's not a reason to vote for someone that you don't like the other candidate. Why are you not researching these people and finding out what their views are and what their beliefs are and what their policies are? Too many people are voting for candidates, not just president, but your senators and your congressmen, your House of Representatives, all these people who do the checks and balances that hold the president to accountable for their actions, now are being given a green light to do what they want to do because too many people are not doing the research on these people. And it's become an issue where it's like, well, I like him because he's black, and I'm going to vote for him because I'm black and he's black. What happened to forming an opinion for yourself and figuring out things for yourself? It's just become an issue now where it's just like several celebrities endorse Joe Biden on Instagram, and I feel like they targeted specifically certain celebrities that had high Instagram counts, millions of followers. And I feel like they paid those celebrities to endorse them publicly on Instagram. And that's the same to me as buying votes, because you have a lot of young people in America who, for lack of a better word, they're just sheep, man. They just go do what they're told to do. And whether it be subliminally or directly, if you shove something in somebody's face every day, the same thing in people's face every day, you're subliminally subjecting them to do what you want them to do. Just like this mask thing, I know there's a science that goes behind it all, and there's people that say, well, there's a lot of science that goes into the stuff that's the policies and stuff that have been implemented and this and that. And I do care about other human beings. So yes, I have worn a mask in public, because whereas I'm not concerned about myself, because I feel like I'm a pretty healthy individual. I do realize that I am debatable. Yeah. I do feel like there are, I am around people every day that could be at risk. So to be a decent human being, I have worn a mask, but I feel like they have done the same thing the media has, because it's shoved down your throat every day on the radio, on TV, everywhere you go, there's posters and pictures plastered up, wear your mask when you come in and this and that. So it's drilled in your head every single day that you need to be wearing a mask. And so you slowly condition yourself to, like, even now I've caught myself, like, I just automatically grab a mask when I walk into the store and it's on my face, and I'm in there walking around there's people like not even 20 feet from me, and I'm standing there with a mask on my face like a dipshit. So, you know, and I catch myself and I rip it off my face. I'm like, this is retarded.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think the issue, man, and I don't know I don't have the answer for it, but the media's got to be held accountable too.
Yeah, they do.
Can't put out certain things because when they do what you're talking about, perception becomes reality.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's a problem. And my biggest thing with the mask is like, hey, dude, we've been wearing masks for 10 months. If masks work, we wouldn't be in the predicament we're in now. We have higher infection rates every day than any other time during the pandemic, right? And now,
allegedly,
and now Fauci came out and tried to say wear 2 masks, and I've seen a bunch of memes where people were stacking up like 100 masks out in a row, making fun of him. Because I would too, man. It's kind of hysterical. Hey, if one mask ain't working, bro, you just got to put 2 of them.
But it's funny, but it's not funny, because if Fauci got on TV tonight, right, breaking news, and he's on TV and he's like, hey, just figured out that if you walk around with your finger in your ass, you're not going to get COVID. Guarantee you, tomorrow, if you go out and go to the store, you're going to see somebody with their hand down their pants and their finger in their ass. You know what I mean? Because people just, they think how they're told to think, they feel how they're told to feel. And it's so sickening, dude. It's so sickening that people just buy into whatever crap they're fed. And it's scary, because what's next? You know, where's the line? Where's the line in the sand? Like, where do we end up from here if you start conforming to everything that the government tells you to do? Like, it's, and the patriot side of me, that's the side that comes out when I snatch that mask off my face, and I'm like, the hell with this. This is the dumbest thing there. This is the dumbest thing there is.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, and people say, well, you're paranoid and you're, you know, it's reality, dude. History can repeat itself. It's done it since the beginning of time. And, you know, you never know. And it sounds grim, and it sounds kind of doom and gloom, but it is what it is. You never know when you could be marching into the freaking gas chambers yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happened to the Jews. It can happen to anybody.
Well, what people need to realize, and here's 2 of the most recent points. You know, they were riding in Oregon, and they took over like a whole city block, right? Chaz. Yep. I believe it was in Oregon. So they took over Chaz, right? These are leftist thinking people. They don't want anything to do with border walls. They don't want anything to do with weapons. They were talking about defund the police, all these things that we have in America that keep you safe and protect your rights. They didn't want anything to do with. But when they took over a city block, those are all the things that they implemented. They had security. They put up walls. The security was armed. I mean, everything that they stood against, they implemented. Same thing on the Democratic side when the state of Washington enacted the National Guard to come after the Capitol building incident, and they wanted protection for Joe Biden's inauguration, right? These are people that push for defund the police. They didn't want border walls, and you know, that was one of Joe Biden's executive orders on day one, was he stopped construction of the border walls, but they put up walls and barricades and stuff in Washington, D.C. They were armed people, but you want to defund the police, but you don't have an issue with enacting the National Guard to come and protect you with firearms.
Yep.
So it's super hypocritical, and it's ignorant to try to push these issues just for you to use them for your own personal benefit. So I think people need to realize that. And kind of getting off the subject, I want to touch on firearms really quick. And my analogy, and what I tell everybody, for anybody that watches this portion of the video. You can't just make guns illegal and think they're going to disappear, because drugs have been illegal my entire life, and you can find drugs everywhere, that anywhere that you want to find drugs, any kind of drugs, acid, cocaine, meth, marijuana, you can
Yeah,
get
yeah,
it everywhere, and it's
yeah.
illegal.
Great point. So, because here's what happens. Okay, you create all these laws that ban guns or drugs. Okay, and all you do is harm the law-abiding citizen that's trying to do the right thing, that's trying to own things the right way. So you create more criminals, essentially. If that's, I mean, that's what you do. I mean, what happens when you can't legally buy drugs? If you can't, if you have glaucoma, or if you have a medical condition that requires you to smoke medical marijuana that helps you with your medical condition, if they shut down dispensaries and you can't go get medical marijuana for your condition, you have to go to get it illegally, which makes you a criminal. Okay. And the same thing with weapons. If I'm going to own a weapon, as long as I've got a breath in my body, I'm going to own firearms 100%. And don't care what kind of commie bullshit stuff you come up with or whatever you pass, I'm going to have weapons, because I have to have weapons to protect my gift of life and protect my family from evil, and to protect my family from people that would seek out to do harm to me or to them. So that's not going to happen. So if I have
Yeah,
to
I
do,
mean, because you lost all your weapons in a boating accident last summer, remember?
yeah, 100%. You were there. Your weapons were in the same boat capsized, terrible accident.
Terrible accident. I don't even remember what state we were in, what river, but that boat sank, and dude, all of our firearms are gone.
Yep. And then so, and the only other one that I had, some low life criminal broke in my house and stole it. So I mean,
and the way our bank accounts are set up, we couldn't get them out.
No, I mean, it's just is what it is. So I don't have any guns, but but I do. You know what I'm saying? No. I think it's a great point about because you create this. You and I have tried to do things the right way, and try to be law-abiding citizens and be on the right side of the law our entire lives. We went out and got carry permits so we could carry guns legally in every aspect of our lives, whether it be in our cars or on our person or whatever, which we both know is BS anyway, because constitutionally, I don't need another man or a woman to tell me that I have the right to defend myself and my gift of life. God created that. That is something that doesn't matter if I use a rock or a knife or a gun, a tool like a gun, to protect myself or protect my family. It's your God-given right. It's something that not any man has given you personally. That's something that God gives you directly at the moment of your birth.
Yeah, and a weapon's a tool. I mean, it's like anything else, dude. You know, if the sticky bandits from Home Alone started smashing dudes' heads in with hammers, they're not going to ban hammers, dude. A hammer's a tool. And, you know, my point exactly. Like anybody, there's no argument for me pairing it up with drugs. Drugs are illegal, you can get them. Firearms, if you make them illegal, they're not going to disappear off the face of the earth. There's no
newsflash. There are millions and millions of guns sold on the black market to criminals every single day in this country. You can go down. Everybody knows a guy that knows a guy. You can go down and buy one out of a Cavalier at the back of dude's trunk on East 23rd Street in Chattanooga. Guaranteed, dude will hook you up with whatever you want.
Yeah, so you can get a Glock 40 and a Steph Curry McFlurry straight out the trunk of the
Yeah,
car.
Dirty Mike and the boys. Dirty Mike and the boys will sell you anything you want down on East 23rd Street, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's all you do is penalize the people like you and I who have tried to do things on the right side of the law and went out and purchased guns legally and had them registered to us directly. And, all these things, all these hoops that we've jumped through.
Yeah, it just makes it harder for no reason. You know what I mean? It just makes it harder for the average person.
It makes it tremendously harder for us to, try to do things the right way. And we just keep getting penalized for, you will never change. You will never change, no matter how many laws you pass or how many things you draw up on a piece of paper and how many different stipulations and how many hoops you make good people jump through. You will never, ever change the content of a man's heart. Evil has existed in the hearts of men since Cain slew his brother Abel.
Yep, 2 angels.
He killed him with a jawbone of an animal, for God's sakes. I think I got that wrong. He killed him with a rock, if I remember correctly. But regardless, he didn't need.
Regardless,
he didn't need an AR-15 to mow his brother down, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You either have evil in your heart and have evil intentions, or you don't. And the only
what was
thing,
old buddy with the slingshot that killed the giant, took the giant out? David and Goliath, dude,
with a rock, dude.
Slingshots.
So you're not going to take away the contents of people's hearts. You're either evil or you're good. But the only thing that's going to stop evil people from doing bad things to good people is for the good people to have a fighting chance, man. I mean, we have to have an even playing field. These criminals are going to get guns illegally if they have to. And what happens is, if you start penalizing these good people and taking away, just say if you had a single mom who is raising multiple kids on her own and she's working multiple jobs, and say she's able to do things the right way and gets a carry permit and starts taking firearm training classes to learn how to be more proficient with her weapon and understands that she's responsible for every round that leaves the chamber of that weapon. And she goes through all the proper channels to be able to defend herself, and a group of men break into her home and stage a home invasion. The difference is, this lady now has the ability to and has the power to defend herself and survive, or be at the mercy of these men who have now broken into her home and do what, God only knows what to her and her family. Rapes them, murders them, whatever. I would prefer that they kick the door in and she shoots him 6 times in the chest and he dies instantly. I'm weird. I would, maybe I'm a weirdo, because I would prefer that the lady survives and the freaking maggots that are setting out to do something heinous to this person is dead. I mean,
yeah, I lay in bed at night sometimes and ask myself if I'm retarded,
Dude, I have come to the conclusion that I have to be. I mean, there's no way that there's this many retards around me on a daily basis, and I can't understand. It doesn't make sense mathematically that I'm maybe at some point I do the same thing. I'm like, I have to be
dude, like, we have to be retarded because guys like Long Neck and I can't even think of that dude's name, man. What's that Skittles freaking colored rapper dude that freaking was in prison?
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Tekashi 6ix9ine. You got guys like Long Neck, Tekashi 6ix9ine running around with millions of dollars in their pocket. We're retarded. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
But to kind of switch the subject a little bit for a couple of people, Stephan is an electrician, and he's been doing electrical work for what, 7 years?
10 years actually.
Okay.
I think let's see, March, April time frame this year will make 10 years. So right at 10 years.
Okay, so you've been doing electrical work for a while. I know there's different ways for people to get into that trade. I know some companies will hire you to go through like an internship program, and you'll be like a labor worker or, you know, a helper, whatever, you know, term they want to use. They'll pay them $9-10 an hour, and they kind of go through before they're take the, what is it, a lineman's test?
No, a lineman works on your high voltage systems, like for your power on the streets and stuff like that. You would take a journeyman's test.
Journeyman's, that's it.
Or an apprentice test. A lot of if you join the union, you know, you would test in at, you know, before you become a journeyman, you would test in at certain levels, you know, first year, second year, third year, and that kind of thing. And you would be able to do your classes, and the union pays for your classes as you go. So if you're going to do it, I would definitely suggest to go a different route than the route I went, and join the union early on, because if you can do that early, it would definitely be beneficial to your career long term.
And how long would you say, for people that may be looking into becoming an electrician, that they would need kind of on the job experience type before they could take their journeyman's license?
I would say if you're dedicated to it, and if you're serious about it, you could probably. I took a lot of my personal time when I first started. When I first discovered that this is really what I wanted to do, I took a lot of my personal time at home and spent a lot of my own personal time studying and researching things on my own. Of course, the in-job training helps within the field stuff. There's things that come up that you can't learn in a book that you deal with day to day on job sites. But I would say tentatively, you could probably do it in 2 to 3 years. That's if you're serious about it and you really spent and you were dedicated and spending your personal time on doing it as well. Because again, everything in your book, everything you take on that test is going to be in a book form. But I mean, just because you know circuitry doesn't mean that you're going to be prepared for things that happen in the field on job sites. Certain construction knowledge that you get from being on the job every day and seeing the flow of a job and how things work and how other trades do things. Because I mean, electrical, you're involved in about everybody's stuff. I mean, plumbers set hot water heaters, but they don't wire them up. Electrician does. So you have to be kind of knowledgeable about multiple things like appliances. You know, you may have a company that you buy appliances from, and they'll come out and set them, but they won't wire them up. They take electricity. It takes you have to have knowledge about, you know, pretty much. You have to be diverse in several trades. You know, heat and air units. You know, heat and air guys will come out. They'll troubleshoot their unit, but for it to work, it's got to have power. So that's all stuff that we have to do. And you have to kind of get that training, in my opinion, from doing it and just being in the field and working under somebody. I was fortunate enough to work under a couple of men who were really good at taking the time to slow things down and kind of teach you. And so just having some good in the field experience and somebody that can really show you, you could do it in 2 or 3 years for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good to get in a trade, man. I think people's kind of gotten away from that. You know, in our lifetime, we were told you got to go to college, or you know, you're not going to do well in life, and it's not necessarily the case. And electrician's a very good trade, man. And you know, I encourage people to kind of go that route to a certain degree. Um, it's one of the things that it's not for a DIYer. You know, people that watch or follow you know DIY projects around the house, whether you want to drywall this or
Yeah.
try to put in carpet in a small bedroom and stuff. Like you
Yeah.
can DIY a lot of things, man, but DIY and electrical.
People are like, no thanks. People are like, I'm scared to death of it. I don't know how many people say, I don't know how are you not scared to work on this light? We're like, well, just turn the switch off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and I've
people
done it.
don't.
You know, the old house we lived in, we took out 16 feet of wall, and it had a couple outlets in it, and I pulled the wires into the crawl space and put them in junction boxes and everything like that. And you know, I wouldn't say I'm the smartest guy, but I can tell you, I thought I've had the power cut off, and I blew the end off of a screwdriver before. So
Hey, I have blown up more stuff than I. I mean, it's part of it. I mean, there's
yeah,
always that time when you think things, you think something's off and it's not, or somebody's went back behind you and turned it back on. So there's always something that happens that's kind of unexpected. But with electrical, people tell me all the time, like, yeah, my husband was going to do it, but he decided he was just going to call somebody out here and take care of it. And I like, I don't blame him, because there's no way I would do it if I wasn't, knowledgeable about it. It's just one of those things. I put myself in people's position and people's shoes, and they're like, well, we decided to call somebody. And I thought, there's no way I would work on electricity if I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I mean, this is one of those things where, and this lady asked me one time, she's like, I actually got shocked at her house, because I was putting a three-way in, and with a three-way, one of the wires on the three-way is hot, no matter what position the switch on the other end is in. And they had some computers and stuff there. Like, her husband ran a business at his home. I don't know if he sold insurance or what he did, but he had like a whole computer set up down in his basement. He was down there like working, and we didn't know what breaker was the circuit for that light, and she wanted some light switches changed out. So out of fear for turning off his computers while he was in the middle of working, we were just like, okay, we'll just do it hot. So we were working on it, and it, I got the screwdriver a little too close to the metal box while I was making my connections, and it was just that close, and it arced and it sparked. And she freaked. She just jumped. She was like, "Oh, are you okay?" She said, "Did you get electrocuted?" I said, "No, I didn't get electrocuted, or I'd be dead." Electrocution is a pretty serious thing. I mean, I got zapped a little bit, but I didn't get electrocuted. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it did that same thing to me. I thought it was off, and I was trying to switch out just a light switch, and I went to take the screw out, and I had a flathead screwdriver, and it blew. I looked at the end of the screwdriver, and it was gone, son.
Decapitated that
I was like,
screwdriver.
well, let me go get another screwdriver and cut this power off. And I don't know how, man, but when we were getting ready to sell our old house and move here, we had a video doorbell put in. I told my mom was up at the time. I said, go over the breaker panel there in the garage. I'll stand here at the front door, and I'll press this doorbell until it, it doesn't work anymore. So she was flipping them off, and it had a blue like ring around it, and the ring just stopped. I was like, all right, that's good or whatever. And I changed the whole thing out back to the regular one. And when I changed it, I was like trying to put the screw in so it would hold against the wall. And I guess I hit the button and it started dinging. And I was like, what the heck? And it was never off. I had power the whole time, but never mess with me.
So a doorbell, most doorbells work off a direct current, not AC power. So that's a low voltage
Yeah,
power.
I figured.
So what happens is somewhere in your house there's an outlet or a junction box somewhere in your house. Usually it's in an outlet close to your chimes kit that's got your doorbell mechanism in it that makes the noise when you hit the. So either in that chimes kit or behind that chimes kit or in an outlet close to it, there's a transformer, and you run AC power, which would be 120 volts, to that transformer. And then on the other side of that transformer, you have a low voltage wire that comes off that goes to your chimes kit, and then from your chimes kit down to your doorbell. So you were getting where it would have been a little bit more of a shocking experience with if you were messing with hot wires that were 120 volts, you ended up with some direct current there, some low voltage, so you didn't get too much. Otherwise, it would have been when you were making those connections.
Yeah, it never did anything, man. I was surprised. I was like, man, this thing's dinging the door right now. I thought
Sometimes
the power was off.
Sometimes it be like that.
Yeah, sometimes it be like that. I was lucky, I guess.
I've been lucky multiple times, dog. I've been lucky multiple times. I remember one time I was working by myself. Scariest thing that's ever happened to me, hands down, on a job. I was taking the panel cover off, and it was a job that I'd never been to before, and it was a job that we kind of inherited. The electricians that were there before us, they fired them off the job. So we, and I see why when I saw the work and stuff that they were doing. But I went to take the panel cover off, and these idiots had stripped the wire out that comes into the panel and onto the to the lugs in the panel. They had stripped the wire out like that much, and they curled it in there at an angle. And when I pulled that panel cover off, it's got these little slots in the top, so you have to pull it down, and then before it clears those slots, before it'll come free. So when I pulled that panel cover down, where those wires were stripped out so long, and they were kind of in there at an angle, when I pulled that metal panel cover down, it hit both of those freaking hot wires at the same time and blew the F up right straight in my face. I don't know how it didn't shock me, blow me. I don't know how it didn't electrocute me, because I had a hold of the metal cover and pulled it down. And I had it with my bare hands. So it touched that metal cover, and somehow it sent it to ground instead of sending it. I must have still been grounded somehow just right to where it sent it to ground and tripped the main on the freaking on the breaker box instead of blowing my ass up. So I got mega lucky. That's one of them ones you're kind of shaking when you're done. Just go out, go outside for a minute and get some fresh air.
Yeah, dude. I bet a farrier couldn't have fucking drove a nail between your butt cheeks.
Dude, you couldn't have drug it, and you couldn't have done it with a bulldozer, dog. It was slam your stank hole shut when that happens.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of electricity, what we got? I got to get you up here, man, in the next couple of weeks so we can wire this garage up.
Did you get those dipshits finally get your garage closed up? And
yeah, the garage is good. I had bought the I can't even think of the name of it. The wiring that's already got the metal conduit around it.
The MC cable.
Yeah, I got 250 feet of the MC cable. And I know it's going to cost more and probably cause us more of a pain in the butt, but I'm probably going to take it back and just get metal conduit. I think longevity, it's just going to look better and be cleaner and whatnot. So I'm probably going to do it with that, even though it's again, it's going to cost me more money and cost us more in time. I just prefer it. But yeah, the garage is good, man. We just, whenever we can get the time, we can run some power to it.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Maybe, let's see. Probably I got some free time middle of February, end of February. I'm actually going back to that abandoned hospital in Vicksburg, Mississippi for Operation Bone Strike airsoft event. So we're going to go hit that up again February 28th. So it should be a good time.
Yeah, I ain't played in so long. I need to play.
Yeah, dude. Need to go. I mean, it'd be a lot for you to try to make it to an event like that because you would have to. I mean, Vicksburg's 7 hours away. That's 7 hours from here, so it might be a little closer for you actually, depending on. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I bet it's not. It's probably further because you have to come. I think you have to take 59 through Alabama and then into Mississippi that way. I'm sure there's another way, but
that's a journey, son.
Yeah, place is fire though. It's worth it. Place is badass. I ain't driving, so don't affect me at all. So I'm just gonna be riding. I'm just gonna be chilling until we get there. Last year on the way there, I slept like the night we went down. We left on a Friday and we drove down, and I slept almost the whole way down. I slept for like 5 hours out of 7.
Those are the good trips, dude.
Woke
Get in the
up,
car,
fall asleep, wake up, you're there.
wake
It's
up.
like
Oh man, we here. Heck yeah.
Time travel.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good trips, man.
100%.
Yeah, we definitely need to play. Yeah, I mean, in a couple weeks, I just want to get it wired up before the spring gets here, because as soon as it gets warm enough to where it's 50 degrees or higher, I'm going to do like an epoxy floor over that concrete to make it last longer.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, it can't get down below 50. That epoxy needs it to be a certain degree in order to set and cure properly. So if I can get it wired before then and then roll straight into getting epoxy done, then I can start, doing what I need to with the garage. I got stuff in there, but it's all things that I can move out pretty quick. I don't want to put a bunch of crap in there and have to move it all out to do the epoxy floor. So I'm keeping it minimal for now, but getting the power done would be legit.
Yeah, we can make it happen for sure, dude. We'll see. We'll be probably looking at a couple of days worth of work for sure.
Yeah, and if we can get the majority of it done, and you got to go back, at least then I'll have main power ran, a bunch of the conduit ran, and I'll have done enough. We'll be to a stage where we've done enough then where I can finalize it out by myself.
All right, then. Sounds like a plan. I'm about to get on Call of Duty for a little bit and smoke some 10-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it, dude. I appreciate it, man. Anybody that's stuck around this long, or is this part of the video, don't be a square, dude. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, post some comments down below. Really help us out.
Yeah,
help me out for sure.
Even if you don't agree with some of the stuff we said, let us know. We're not commies. Like if you don't agree with the things we're saying, then post your point of view on what you think. I mean, that's the great thing about this country is the way it should be, is everyone can have a difference in opinion and it be okay. That's the thing we have to understand. That is the most important thing about being an American, is it is okay to have a difference in opinion. Everybody can't think the same way. That is how dictatorships start. You can't brainwash people to think the way you want them to think. People are supposed to think differently. There's supposed to be an eclectic difference in opinion on all matters, not just race, not just political parties. It's supposed to be different all the way around. So if you love this country, if you're a red-blooded American, you have to believe that. I mean, to me, there can't even be an argument for freedom and for democracy. I mean, you have to stand for that. And regardless of your political views, I'm not like some of the Democrats that have, bashed Donald Trump for the last 4 years and said, well, he's not my president. Well, Joe Biden, I don't agree with the things that he said. I don't agree with a lot of his policies, but I am an American. I'm a red-blooded American. And, that being said, since I'm an American, he's the president of the United States, then that makes him my president, regardless if I voted for him or not. So the title of commander-in-chief deserves a certain level of respect, regardless of if you believe in the person that's in there or not. So I think without that freedom to be able to vote for this party or that party, then we're fucked. So
yeah, and if you're any kind of decent person, man, you should just want what's best for everyone, and to look at it to benefit the ones that come after you. Especially as a parent, that's any parent's goal in life, is to give their kids a better life than they had. So we're not narrow-minded. I like to feel like we're open-minded in a lot of aspects. We don't have to think the same, but everybody's goal should be to make the world a better place.
100%.
And if you can give justifiable, reasons to why your thoughts and beliefs go towards that, then cool, man.
Just have an argument other than I just don't like them. You know what I'm saying? You have some facts, form some opinions for yourself, and back to what you were saying about just being a good human being. I tell my kids that all the time. It takes no effort. You don't have to be skilled in any kind of sports. You don't have to literally, it takes no effort whatsoever to be a good human being. Regardless of whatever situation you're in. It literally it takes more effort to be mean and nasty to somebody than it does to be good. So
yeah, I feel like you got to go out of your way to be a bad person.
You do, man. It definitely 100% takes more energy to be nasty to people than it does to be good. I mean, I believe that. I believe that 100%. But hey, real quick before we go, have you ever tried DMT?
DMT?
Yeah.
No, I wished.
Shout out to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I wish I tried DMT, but yeah, man. To wrap the video up, look, hey, we're open-minded. If you got good views and whatever, and you want to comment below, cool, man. Don't throw us a bunch of hate, dude. We're not throwing hate at you. We might have talked about some things that you don't necessarily agree with. That's fine. Tell us your opinion down below, man. We can have a conversation. I can get you
Let's
on
talk
here.
about it. Yeah,
And
let's talk about it.
we can talk about it. It's not that big of a deal. Just show some love, show some respect. You don't know my life or Stephan's life, and we don't know yours. So don't try to shit on it. So I appreciate it, brother. Let's get on some Call of Duty. Let's hop off of here and show these kids that they're not as good as they think they are at Call of Duty.
I got you. All right, brother.
All right, man. Take care. See you, bro.